Welcome back to EDUSPLORER News across the continent of Africa. Today, we will be starting with Namibia's first female president to Nigeria's World Cup qualifying win, and from Niger's fuel crisis to Egypt's billion-dollar investment. Africa is on the move, plus major developments in Uganda, Tanzania, and beyond. I am Farouk. Let's dive in. On Africa News, Namibia swears in first female president. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah was sworn in as Namibia's first female president on Friday, reaching the highest office in her land nearly 60 years after she joined the liberation movement fighting for independence from apartheid South Africa. The 72-year-old Nandi-Ndaitwah won an election in November to become one of just a handful of female leaders in Africa, after the likes of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia, Joyce Banda of Malawi, and Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania. Sirleaf and Banda, now former leaders of their countries, and current Tanzanian President Hassan, all attended Nandi-Ndaitwah's inauguration. Nandi-Ndaitwah's swearing in coincided with the 35th anniversary of Namibia's independence, but the ceremony was switched from a soccer stadium where thousands were due to attend to the official presidential office because of heavy rain. The new president made a pledge to defend, uphold, and support the constitution in front of other visiting leaders from South Africa, Zambia, Congo, Botswana, Angola, and Kenya. In sport, Nigeria gets first qualifying win as Salaam nets for Egypt, according to BBC. Victor Osimhen inspired Nigeria to their first win in World Cup 2026 qualifying, while Mohamed Salah helped strengthen Egypt's bid to reach the finals. Algeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, and South Africa all moved top of their groups, and Morocco sealed a late victory amid a busy day which saw 11 qualifiers played across the continent. Liverpool forward Salah calmly put Egypt in front away against Ethiopia and then turned provider for Cyril to double the lead before the break. The Pharaohs have established a 5-point lead in Group A at the half-hour stage of the campaign. Meanwhile, on loan Galatasaray striker Osimhen netted both goals in Nigeria's 2-0 victory in Rwanda, and the Super Eagles are now 4 points behind South Africa in Group C. China to invest in solar panel glass production in Egypt. According to Arabian Gulf Business Insight, a Chinese company will reportedly invest $700 million to establish a solar panel glass manufacturing facility in Egypt. Hong Kong-listed Xinyi Glass will develop the project in the Suez Canal Economic Zone in 2 phases, the Egypt Today newspaper reported. The facility is expected to produce 1.5 million tons of solar panel glass and 1.1 million tons of high-purity silica sand annually, a key raw material for solar glass production. The majority of the output will be exported both regionally and globally, the newspaper said. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has already directed government entities to provide the necessary infrastructure to expedite the plant's development. Xinyi Glass is in the process of securing regulatory approvals ahead of starting construction, the paper said. Egypt is increasing efforts to localize manufacturing of solar power components. In October 2024, the government identified solar cells as one of 12 strategic products targeted for domestic production. On AP News, at least 44 civilians killed in jihadi attack in Niger, authorities say. An attack by a jihadi group on a village in western Niger has killed 44 civilians, the country's interior ministry said. The attack took place on Friday afternoon in the village of Fambita in the rural commune of Kokoru near the tri-state border with Mali and Burkina Faso, the ministry said in a statement. It blamed the attack on the Islamic State in the Great Sahara, or EIGS. The Associated Press was not able to reach out to the EIGS for comment. Around 2 p.m., while Muslim worshippers were performing Friday prayers, these heavily armed terrorists surrounded the mosque to carry out their massacre of rare cruelty, the statement read. The gunmen also set fire to a market and houses before retreating, it added. The provisional death toll is at least 44 civilians, with 13 severely injured, the ministry said it declared 3 days of national mourning. Niger, along with its neighbors Burkina Faso and Mali, has for over a decade battled an insurgency fought by jihadi groups, including some allied with Al-Qaeda and Islamic State group. Following military coups in all three nations in recent years, the ruling juntas have expelled French forces and turned to Russia's mercenary units for security assistance. The three countries have vowed to strengthen their cooperation by establishing a new security alliance, the Alliance of Sahel States. On Reuters, Congo M23 rebels say they will withdraw from seized town to support peace push. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels staging an offensive in East Congo said on Saturday they would withdraw forces from the seized town of Walikale in support of peace efforts, having previously said they were leaving troops there as they pushed on to the capital. The government said it hoped the move would be translated into concrete action after M23 this week pulled out of the planned talks with Congolese authorities at the last minute due to EU sanctions on some of its leaders and Rwandan officials. It would have been their first direct engagement with Congo's government after President Felix Tshisekedi reversed his long-standing refusal to speak to the rebels. The Congo Rival Alliance, which includes M23, said in a statement on Saturday that it had decided to reposition its forces from Walikale and surrounding areas that M23 took control of this week. This decision was in line with the ceasefire declared in February and in support of peace initiatives, it said in a statement that was greeted with skepticism by army officials. Gabon approves coup leader and ex-PM among candidates for presidential vote. Gabon's constitutional court has approved a list of 8 candidates to run in the Central African nation's president election next month, including interim president Brice Oligui Nguema, who seized power in a military coup in 2023. Although transitional leaders are not usually allowed to run for election, Gabon approved a new constitution by a landslide in November that exempted Nguema, stoking opposition and analysts concerned that the junta would seek to remain in power. The junta promised the constitutional referendum would be a stepping stone to democratic rule. Nguema, aged 50, ended the long-standing rule of his predecessor, Ali Bongo, and his family over the oil-rich but impoverished nation in the coup, the 8th in West and Central Africa between 2020 and 2023. Nguema's main rival is tipped to be Bongo's last prime minister, Alain Claude Bilibayenze, 57, who is running as an independent candidate. Once again on Reuters, Ugandan military says it killed 242 rebels in East Congo this week. Uganda's army said it killed 242 fighters belonging to a Congolese rebel group known as Codeco after they attacked an Ugandan military camp across the border in East Congo earlier this week, a claim disputed by the group. Uganda military spokesperson Chris Mageze said hundreds of Codeco fighters attacked the Uganda People's Defense Forces (UPDF) military post in the Congo locality of Fataki in the province of Ituri on Wednesday and Thursday. The army retaliated on both occasions, killing 31 militants on the first day and 211 on the second day, Mageze said in a post on X late on Friday. One UPDF soldier was killed and 4 others injured, he added. Codeco spokesperson Baza Zukpagasin refuted the army's account on Saturday, saying the group only lost 2 fighters and that the UPDF death toll was higher. Niger's crippling fuel crisis, a warning to AES countries. Daily Trust. The crippling fuel shortage in Niger and the change in thinking towards development aid by the developed world are clear warnings to Africa on the urgent need to deepen regional integration and more so for the self-proclaimed Alliance of Sahel States AES countries making a public show of quitting the economic community of West Africa states ECOWAS at all costs. Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso have effectively formalized their withdrawal from ECOWAS, having served notice to create the regional bloc in January 2024, but the organization, in a demonstration of good faith, has allowed them a 9-month grace period until September 2025 to rejoin if they change their mind. Last December, the Niger junta leader Abdurrahman Chiani, without any proof, went on his country's state television to accuse Nigeria of attempts to destabilize Niger. Niger's Foreign Minister Bakari Yao Sangari had also alleged that the Nigerian government was complicit in a purported December 13 sabotage of the Niger-Benin oil pipeline in Gaia. The Niger government summoned Nigeria's charge d'affaires in Niamey to complain. Nigeria dismissed all the allegations as unfounded, while the ECOWAS Commission issued a public statement in defense of Nigeria. Ethiopia introduces new tax to fill gap after US aid funding pause, according to AP News. Ethiopia's parliament on Thursday introduced a new tax for all workers as part of measures to fill the financial gap left by the US aid funding pause. The funds collected will go to a new Ethiopian Disaster Risk Response Fund to pay for projects previously funded by US aid, Ethiopia's biggest partner for development and humanitarian efforts. Ethiopia is facing recurrent conflict in some of its region, including Tigray, which is recovering from a 2-year conflict, Amhara and Oromia. The conflicts have left millions of people in need of food aid and health care. The new tax will apply to people employed in both the private and public sectors. A mandatory contribution will also be asked of companies across sectors such as banking and hospitality. The new bill has been forwarded to a parliamentary committee for deliberation on the percentages to be contributed. Straight to Western Kenya, according to Star News, 6 MPs endorsed CS Wycliffe Oparanya for deputy president in 2027. 6 members of parliament from Western Kenya have officially endorsed cooperatives and MSME's cabinet secretary Wycliffe Oparanya for the deputy president position in the 2027 general election, vowing to rally the region behind his candidacy. Speaking in Cyril sub-county during the disbursement of Uwezo funds, the lawmakers termed Oparanya as a proven leader, citing his strong development record as a former Kakamega governor and his current role in government. On electricity, according to Citizen News, Tanzania and Zambian firm hold landmark talks on electricity sale deal. The Tanzania Electricity Supply Company, TANESCO, and a private Zambian firm are currently in talks that will see the East African country exporting electricity to Zambia and beyond. People privy to the negotiations say the two parties will finally arrive at a premium rate surpassing the cost that TANESCO currently incurs to import power from Ethiopia. Pending administrative and regulatory approvals, the export volume is poised to yield a swift return on investment for the Julius Nyerere hydroelectric project, recouping its cost in just 4 years. That's a wrap for today's episode of News Across the Continent of Africa on EDUSPLORER. If you like this news episode, comment, like, and share this video. Once again, I am Farouk Adeoye. Bye for now.